G'day everyone, welcome to the channel. As always, if you are new here, my name is Sam and thank you so much for choosing to click on this video. It has been a while since I've done one of these Yoga for Men series videos, and if this is the first time you're watching one of these videos, don't worry, if you're not a man, you won't explode as soon as you get onto your yoga mat. I've just named it that to try and trick a couple more blokes into the yoga practice because sometimes they need a little more persuading. But rest assured, this practice is for everyone. It is a vinyasa flow practice. There will be a lot of strength through the arms and shoulders, playing to some of the strengths that men commonly have when they come into the yoga practice, but we'll also try and target some of those maybe weaker points as well, or areas that may need improving, like the hips. So that's what we're going to do today. You won't need any props. I've got some blocks there, but that's more just so they look pretty in the corner of the screen. But you won't really need anything. If you've got a yoga mat, fantastic, but the floor's great as well. As always, when you're ready, we'll get right into it. So we'll start today's practice down in Balasana, child's pose. Getting comfortable, sitting hips back to heels, separating the knees slightly so that your ribcage can still rest on top of your thighs, and just allowing yourself to lower down. Now, as always, I'll keep my head lifted off the mat just so as not to muffle the audio, but if you can, rest your forehead down onto the mat and let yourself get super heavy here. Of course, as always, opportunity just to connect deeper to your breathing. Trying not to overthink it today, it'll just be even in and out through the nose. Inhale's working to fill you, exhale's to empty. Just take two more like that. Full breath in. Last one. From here, popping up onto all fours, just tucking the toes under for a moment, sending the hips back to heels, and then turning your fingers so they face back towards your thighs. I like to call this one the double whammy. We're stretching out through the toes, also stretching out through the wrists as well. You can move the heels from side to side just to deepen that stretch through the bottoms of the toes. Maybe, if it's available, lift your palms off the mat, but still keep those fingers grounded. We spend so much time on the hands in the yoga practice, so it's super important to always stretch out through the wrists and give them a little chance to warm up. Maybe placing back of hands onto the mat here. And if you've practiced with me before, you know that we do spend a lot of time working on arm balances and poses that require strength from the arms and wrists. So if you want a more comprehensive wrist and arm warm-up, watch this video above. I'll put it up in the corner. And if you really want to give your arms and your shoulders, wrists, fingers, everything a chance to warm up, then watch that video and then we'll come on back. From here, we are going to set towards a plank pose, pressing through the hands, wrapping biceps forward. We'll tuck the toes and lift the hips. Getting nice and long through your plank, from crown of head all the way down to the heels. We're going to get right into it, starting with 5 push-ups. So take a breath. Exhale, we'll lower and lift. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Press yourself to straight and send the hips up and back for that first downward facing dog. Settling into stillness. As you look back towards the feet, see if you can shuffle your heels so they just hide behind the balls of the feet. So very slightly just turning those heels away from one another. If you can, maybe taking the down dog a little longer today, giving the legs a chance to lengthen. You can always lift your heels and bend your knees if you need to. Take a breath. And let it out. From here, let the heels rise. Look forward, just begin to tiptoe your way to the top of the mat, stepping up nice and slow. Then inhale, we'll lengthen halfway. Exhale, we'll bow forward. And then first fold, maybe catching the elbows or interlacing hands to the back of the head. No stress, try not to overthink it, just let yourself get heavy. Notice still trying to work that rib cage to thigh connection, which is going to help us with our arm balancing later on. Trying to get comfortable with the torso, moving towards the thighs. And letting the arms drop down, roll up to stand slowly. So your right, pull your shoulder blades back. Stand up tall, inhale, circle the arms up wide. Reach them high, look up to thumbs. Then exhale, pull hands through center. Find Tadasana. Standing tall, strength through the feet, length through the legs, tall through the crown of head. Take an in breath. And then we begin. Inhale, the arms climb, look up. Exhale, we fold. So maybe some days you like to pull the hands through center when you fold. Maybe other days you take the arms out wide. Just depends how you are feeling in this moment. Inhale, chest will rise halfway. Then ground the palms. Let's step the left leg back long. Find a lunge. And then once you arrive, we're going to glue the right knee to the upper right arm. Push down through the palms and just lift the right foot off the mat. So the knee's connecting with the tricep. You're pressing evenly through both hands, wrapping the biceps forward. Trying to build a little bit of strength through the midsection, a little bit of compression through the front body. Take a breath in. And then we'll take it back to plank pose from here. Take another inhale. And then just lowering halfway. So finding chaturanga, see if you can pause there for a moment before untucking your toes as you straighten the arms. And really working to squeeze the shoulder blades back here, extending the crown of the head up high and pushing away from the floor. So knees are hovering, thighs are hovering. Take a breath. And as you exhale, roll the toes over as you lift the hips. Come back, downward facing dog. You want to take one breath in. Let it out. And then heels rise, look forward. See if you can step forward with the opposite foot first this time, just so we don't get in the habit of always stepping forward with the same foot. Halfway lift when you arrive at the top. Exhale to bow. And then inhale, reach the arms above the head, look up. Exhale, reset, pulling through center. Letting the arms rest. Continuing to move through the left side. Inhale, we climb. Exhale, we fold. Remember, take the arms wide or straight through the middle, whatever feels good. Can be different every single time if you want it to. Halfway lift, breath in. Then palms flat. Step the right leg back nice and long. Find your lunge first. And then left knee attaches or super glues, if you will, to the top of that left arm. You just hover the foot. Point that left foot if you can. Push away from the floor evenly. Lengthen the chest forwards. Take an in breath. Come back to plank. Exhale. Pause for in breath at the top. And then find that chaturanga again. Slowly lower halfway. Untuck the toes. Squeeze the shoulder blades back. Lift the chest. Downward facing dog as you exhale. Keeping the breath nice and calm. Full inhale. Let it out. This time, shuffle the feet half a step closer and bring the feet together so they're touching. So your down dog is more narrow and the feet are connecting at the midline. As we shift the gaze forward, elevate the shoulder blades. So shrug the shoulders. Inhale, lift the heels and bend the knees. Ribs and thighs stay connected. Exhale, gentle hop, landing the feet between the hands. Halfway lift, breath in. Exhale, we fold. Inhale, we climb, let the arms rise above the head. Exhale, we pull through center. So we're going to progressively get more active as we go. Just follow along for the ride. Inhale, we climb. Exhale, we fold. Inhale, chest will rise halfway. From here, palms press, left foot back, find the lunge first, and then hover the right knee off the mat. So this will be our inhale, take a breath. As we exhale, extend the right leg back, find chaturanga and pause. And then feet soften down, inhale, upward facing. Exhale, we take it back, downward facing. Single breath in. Let it out. And then feet half a step closer and to touch. Look forward, inhale, heels rise, knees bend. Exhale, gentle hop. Halfway lift, in breath. Exhale to bow. Inhale, we climb. Exhale, pull it through. And finishing off strong, we have the left side to go. You got it. Inhale, climb. Exhale, fall. Inhale, we rise. This time, right leg back, find the lunge. Left knee connects to the upper arm. Hover the foot, point the toe, pause. Let this be your inhale. Exhale, extend the leg, chaturanga, pause. And then feet ground, straighten the arms, chest lifts, upward facing. Exhale, take it back, downward facing dog. When we get there, feet together, heels rise, knees drop. And if you can, just look forward to your screen for a moment. So right now we have the palms pressing flat, the arms are nice and straight. Now we've already practiced gently hopping towards the top of the mat. Now I'd love to introduce the idea of tuck jumps, trying to catch that little compressed upside down handstand shape. If you're more familiar with that shape, you can take it absolutely anywhere. That's your journey. Who am I to stop you? But if you're newer to the idea of the tuck jump, the idea is in the air to have the ribs and thighs close towards each other, the heels and the butt nice and close, and super straight arms with the gaze between the thumbs. So if you look at my body right now, I'm essentially doing a tuck handstand. We just need to flip it 90 degrees. So it may just be a few hops for you. You may find a little bit of hang time, but the idea is knees to chest, heels to butt, gaze between your nice straight arms. So look forward, lift heels, bend knees, and it's your journey. So maybe you find a little bit of space upside down. Maybe you're just working on a few gentle hops. Whatever it is for you, we're all going to meet in the same space, and that's feet together at the top of the mat in a forward fold. So whenever you're ready, you can take yourself down. And then we'll take the back of the hands, rest them underneath the feet for Padahastasana. Inhale to lift the chest halfway to lengthen. Exhale, we'll bow forward to fold. Leaning into the toes, letting the head get nice and heavy. A few breaths here just to let the energy shift, especially after that energetic practice of getting upside down. From here, gently releasing the hands, shuffling toes to touch, lengthen your chest forwards, take a halfway lift. Let's call that an inhale. Exhale, we'll bow forward. And then from here, Utkatasana chair pose. So sit your hips back in space, let your arms reach forwards and up. So if you can, scooting tailbone under, lifting front of hips, pulling navel in, and sealing the pose by taking palms to touch and looking up towards your thumbs. Sending those hips back, finding that depth, and letting those arms rise. And take an inhale here. Hold for the breath out. And then if you can, just take your arms forward out in front of you. I encourage you to find depth in your chair. You may need to lift your heels along the way, that's completely fine. If you're down nice and low and you don't need your hands, we'll keep them lifting. We are going to work to lower the bottom down. So you can use your hands if you need to, otherwise lean back. And we lift the hips up. Try to keep this nice 90-degree bend in the legs Just lift your chest for a moment. See if you can find your breathing. And when we're ready, legs are going to stay exactly as they are. We'll lower the back down 90 degrees. Take fingertips to rest behind your ears. So we're going to work a little bit of strength work here. We're going to start nice and slow, and then we'll work to build from there. So let your head rest down on the mat for a moment. Elbows just hovering off the earth. Let's call this an inhale. So take a breath. Then exhale, crunch to lift your head and chest. Take your elbows to tap your knees. So squeeze the heels in towards the butt there. Nice. And then gently lower your head back down. Take those legs back 90 degrees. Take an inhale. Exhale, we crunch up. Elbows find the knees. Then straighten the legs. Nice one. This time as we lower the head back down, we're going to keep the legs straight. See if we can extend them out 45 degrees, trying to keep the low back grounded. Take an inhale. Exhale, we crunch. Head and chest up. See if you can take elbows to knees. Nice one. Take an inhale. Straighten the legs. Then extend the legs out long. Let the head rest down. So it's going to get a little bit stronger here. Follow for the cues. Take an in-breath. Exhale, crunch to lift your head and chest. Right leg stays where it is. Right elbow taps the left knee. Hold. Take an in-breath. Exhale, extend the left leg. Rest the head. Pause for the inhale. Exhale, we crunch up. Left leg stays. Right knee taps the left elbow. We pause. Holding there in the strength. Take an in-breath. Exhale, we're back at center. We drop the head. We have one more either side, so big inhale. Exhale, we crunch. Left knee taps the right elbow. We pause. We hold. We feel the abs burning. We come back through center. Extend the left leg. Rest the head down. Take an inhale. Exhale, we crunch. Final time. Right knee taps the left elbow. We hold, we hold, we hold. Can we lift the chest a little more? Can we press that left foot out a little more? Take one last breath. And then come back through center. Hug the knees to chest. Give them a little bit of a squeeze. I always love that core work. I always forget how hard it is until you're halfway through. But once we start, we can't stop, right? That's the fun. That's why we do it together. So from this space, we're going to work to get ourselves up towards Malasana, that yogi squat. I quite like to get there by extending the arms back behind, drawing the knees in towards the armpits, and then using as little momentum as possible, swinging forward, working to lift the hips off the mat. Now we're in the perfect position to play with our crow pose. So if you've never played with crow pose before, we're just going to stick to the static pose. If you're more familiar with the shape, I'm going to give you a couple of different options along the way. So we're going to set it up by resting the knees, or the triceps on the knees rather, nice and high on the back of the arms. Notice the ribs and thighs are super close. We're going to lift the hips, still keeping ribs and thighs connected, and trying to keep the elbows bending. As we work to lean forward, you just see what it's like to rest a little bit of weight on the back of the arms. Maybe you can shuffle onto the balls of the feet. And then if you feel space, exhale to draw ribs in, draw belly in, draw elbows in, maybe the feet right. So if you're happy to stay right here, I encourage you to stay. If you're more familiar with the shape, we're going to work to keep the right leg where it is and just pull the left knee into chest. So find lots of exhale, draw the knee in, squeeze the elbows in nice and tight, and then gently return the left knee, take the right knee into the center, squeeze the heels in, try and keep balance in both those arms, and then come on back. Right knee will rest on the back of the right arm, gaze is forward. If it's in your practice, take it back to chaturanga. Elbows stay bent, legs extend back. Then come through, upward facing dog. Full breath in. Exhale, take it back. Downward facing dog. Nice work. Lots of strength. Big inhale. Let it go. From here, right leg will rise nice and high. Keep the toes flexing towards you. Then elevate your left heel, pull the right knee to chest. See how gently you can land that right foot just inside the right hand. Then back heel will drop down. We'll bend into the front knee deeply, reach the arms up. Find your warrior one. Seal palms to touch. Find depth in your right thigh, length in your back leg, and then reach those palms up. Search for the thumbs with the eyes. Inner thighs hug towards each other. Back leg is long and strong. Front knee is bending deeply. Take a full breath. Then exhale, cartwheel the hands back down. Back heel will rise. Once the palms are flat, right knee will tap the back of the right arm, lift the foot off the mat. From here, right knee finds the back of the left arm. Just take it across. And then extend the right leg out to the left-hand side. Drop your back heel down and reach your left arm up towards the sky. So from this fallen triangle shape, lift the hips high. Flex the right toes towards you. And if there's space, extend your left arm forwards, gazing underneath your left armpit. Pressing through the inner right palm, spinning hips and heart up a little higher. And take an in-breath. Hold for the out. And nice and easy, we're going to reach the left arm towards the back of the room. As we do, pivot onto the heels, let the hips drop down. We'll be resting on the floor. Nice. Feet are straddled, legs are straddled rather, feet are flexing towards you. Bend those knees as much as you need. Take the fingertips in front of you. Pull the shoulders back, lift the chest. We'll take an inhale. Exhale, we'll work to fold. So maybe you rest on forearms. Maybe you have a little more space to fold deeper. You just find what works for you. Doesn't have to be wildly deep. Just so you feel some sensation in the inner thighs, the back of the legs. And maybe a little bit of length through the spine as well. Take a long breath. Let it out. And slowly walking the hands back towards you. We're going to work to reverse the process. So same way we got into the pose is how we're going to get out, just in reverse. So take your right hand to the top right hand corner of your mat. As you push through the heels, we lift the hips, reach the left arm forwards to the front of the room, come back through fallen triangle. And then left foot will ground flat, left hand will find the mat. And as you pivot onto the left toes, take the right leg up towards the sky. Full breath there. And then from here, roll forward, finding a vinyasa, and you can either use one leg there, keep the right foot hovering, or you can lower it down. Pull through your upward facing. And come back, downward facing dog. Now, if you wiggled and adjusted through all that sitting on the bum and getting back up, you may need to adjust your hands and feet. That's completely fine. Once you find our downward facing dog, let's just take a breath together to settle. Then left leg will rise nice and high and keep the foot engaged. Elevate the right heel, pull the left knee to chest. See how gently you can deliver the left foot just inside the left hand. Then back heel will drop. Sit deep in that left thigh. Find your warrior one. So outside edge of the right foot is grounding flat, that pinky toe edge of the foot. Bending deeply into this left thigh. As we reach the arms up, seal the palms to touch. See if you can find those thumbs. Look towards them and dive deeper. Flexing into that right glute. Working ever so slightly to wrap that right hip forward. Take one last breath. Then exhale, we circle hands down to mat. I'm just going to flip myself around to the other side of the mat so you can see a little better. You stay right where you are. So once those palms ground flat, push against the earth, hover that left foot, point the toes. Push, 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 and then take the left knee just over to the back of the right arm. Extend the left leg out to the right hand side. Drop the back heel, and then start to reach your right arm up. Finding your fallen triangle, flex those left toes, push to lift the hips. And if there's space, right arm will reach forwards. We get a little more height, a little more lift of that gaze underneath the armpit. Breathe in deeply. And as right arm extends back, we pivot on the heels, sit the hips down nice and low. And once again, you find your straddle forward fold. Now maybe this time you have a little more space. You might be able to find a fraction more depth. But just know if you need to bend the knees, fantastic. They're your legs. That's your choice. The legs do not have to be straight. You want this to be comfortable. Take one last full breath in. And mindfully walking the hands back towards you to lift that torso. Once again, reversing this process, same way we came in is the way we exit. So left hand to the top left hand corner. Press down through the heels, lift the hips, reach the right arm forwards. From here, right foot will ground flat, right hand to the mat. And as you roll onto those right toes, we take the left leg up towards the sky. Big breath in. And then exhale, we roll forward. Come through your final vinyasa, one leg or two. Pulling through that final upward facing dog. As you exhale to take it back to downward facing dog, we're going to work to take ourselves down onto the mat. So however you choose to get there is completely up to you. There's always options to jump or just to step up to the floor, whatever you like. So if we want to get there with a little bit of a challenge, but still working some control, I want you to look towards your hands. What we're going to work to do is step the right foot to the back of the left wrist, and if we can, balance on the toes. So what that will look like is this. I'll lift the left heel nice and high. I'll try and step the right foot to the back of the left wrist. And you see I'm balancing on the toes. Then I'm going to do the exact same thing, but opposite side. So left foot will ground behind the right hand, toes, doop, and then bend the knees to sit down onto the bottom. So that's just a little bit less of an active way to get towards the top of the mat, but over time that can lead you towards more active approaches like the jump through and things like that. Once you come to a seat, just give the legs a chance to really shake out here. And one thing I find is often super challenging, especially for blokes in the yoga practice, is front body opening, so broadening across the chest and the shoulders. So something as simple as a reverse tabletop, even with the knees bent, can be really, really strong. So I want you to take this nice and slow, see what it feels like. You could use the hands behind your hips with the fingers turning out to either side. I find this is a little bit less intense than having your fingers facing towards your toes. It's a little kinder on your wrists. So fingers out to either sides, squeeze across the shoulder blades, bend up the legs one at a time, and then see if you can work to just hover your bum for a moment, pull those shoulder blades back, so you're finding that retraction in your shoulder blades, and then move your bottom so it leans out over the heels, and then lift the hips. So to start with, it may look like this. That's completely fine. Just focus on retracting the shoulder blades and pushing through the feet to lift the hips. If from there you find a little more height and a little more lift, that's completely fine, but keep squeezing the shoulder blades, drawing the inner thighs towards each other. And then maybe, if it feels comfortable for you, extend the crown of your head backwards and just look up to the ceiling or even close your eyes. We'll be here together. We count of 5, for 4, 3, 2, on 1. As we lower, can you lift the toes, balance on your heels, move your bottom back through your hands, and extend your legs. Take the back of your hands to the mat, either side of your hips, just for a moment. See if you can clench the fists and open the fingers just a few times to stretch out. And then to finish off, flex the toes towards your face. Again, bend up the knees if you need to. Let your arms reach up, your shoulder blades squeeze back. Take an inhale. And then exhale to move forward from the pelvis. Imagine you are literally folding yourself in half like a door hinge, and the rib cage will rest on the thighs. there's space to catch the feet, you can hold them. If the arms are just resting on the floor with the palms facing up, fantastic. Feel your shoulder blades rolling back towards each other. And when there's space, let your head drop. So feel free to stay right here for just a few more breaths, maybe 3 to 5. If you want to find a very gentle twist here in the forward fold, we'll work to keep the legs as they are, lift the chest just halfway. And then if there's space, walk your hands off towards the left-hand side of the room. And then taking your right elbow just to rest outside the left thigh, pressing your left fingertips into the earth, left elbow will rise. Then you gently push that right elbow to the outside of the left thigh and then gaze up over your left shoulder. I find this space just gives you a little gentle twist, a little gentle length through either side of the spine. Notice my feet are still flexing here, still active in the legs. And then mindfully coming back through center. And the same on the opposite side. Hands are outside the right leg, left elbow outside the right thigh. Right fingertips will press down as we take that gentle twist up over the right shoulder. And mindfully coming back through center. If you're still down in your fold, take one last breath. And then as we rise back up, I want you to choose today your final resting pose. It may be Shavasana, lowering down onto your back. Some days you may prefer to take a seated meditation. Whatever it is for you, it's somewhere where you can be still, somewhere where your eyes can close, and you can stay for maybe 3 to 5 minutes. Whatever it is for you, I want you to get super comfortable. Maybe dim the lights, find something to rest over your eyes or your body if you're laying down. Maybe if you're in a seat, take your back up against a wall so it's a little more comfortable. And once you find your final resting pose, I want you to move away from this need to see the screen. We close the eyes. From this need to hear the cues, the video will stop by itself. When you find your comfort, I want you to sit with it. Sit with yourself, your efforts, your practice. Stay as long as you can. As always, from me to you, with many thanks. I hope to see you on the mat again soon. Peace.